looking for her very own sunshine. All alone in her fate, many roads to travel time, but she
You know, that could have been me on that song. Okay, I'll cut that off. But here today on the Russ Speak show, Lester Blair here doing a, how can I say, cantation of what I want to explain. But we have a notable individual on the show today, Larry Ivory, who's come to talk about a few things happening in the state of Illinois. We got some issues, and Larry's going to tell us what's happening and how we can make it better. But Larry, what's going on here in Illinois, and what do we do to make this better?
Well, you know, it's not what's going on in Illinois only. It's what's going on in the country. And obviously there's been a significant shift politically in terms of how people view diversity, equity, inclusion, how we view trade and tariffs. So there's some pretty significant challenges. And as you and I know, coming from the investment banking field that we come from, Lester, is that the market doesn't like uncertainty. And we've seen a pretty big hit in the market. And I think it's just the beginning of the downside. So all those who are selling short are making money. Those who are in equity don't hold on to it, and hopefully it'll bounce back.
It's a possibility. Right now, I've been dealing with a lot of clients. We manage a lot of money. And right now, people are calling saying, hey, what's going on here? Put me in cash. Well, that's pretty much right now. You got the exit. People are exiting the market and saying, look, get me out of here, because our current president is definitely creating uncertainty. Yeah.
Yep,
Again,
absolutely.
the market does not like uncertainty.
No, even if it's bad news, the market can handle bad news. It can't handle uncertainty.
Yeah.
It much rather have bad policy than they have uncertainty.
Yeah. Right now, my biggest item for every day now is the VIX. And in the volatility index, I'm like, okay, this thing definitely is not where we want to be. So right now, until we get back into levels that are making sense, people are going to say, hey, get me out of the market. But big issue right now, we got some issues coming up in April. A format is going to be happening down in Springfield. We got companies all around the state of Illinois. We're working with them, at least my area. And we're going to be doing some things down in Springfield and talking with our current governor. Have we nailed him yet to say, look, you got to sit down. We got black businesses and minority businesses coming down to make things work. How do we make this happen?
Well, I first say to the Governor Pritzker that we look forward to our leadership as one of the strongest and most vocal voice on behalf of black business and state to sit down and talk to you about policy and about things that we believe we have a common interest, because I think all of us want Illinois to be a great state, and a great state economically, not just on one side, but on all sides. And economic growth and prosperity is critical to maintaining our advantage, because we got a great state. We're in the center of the whole country. Illinois is the heart of the country, and there's enormous benefits doing business in Illinois. But I think we can do some things a little bit better, and I think that's why leadership in business, whether it be the Black Chamber of Commerce, the Illinois Chamber of Commerce, we all need to be talking about good economic policy and how Illinois can maintain its competitive advantage and attract businesses to the state of Illinois and not have businesses leave the state of Illinois. So we're looking forward to coming down to Springfield, hopefully meet with the governor. If not the governor, maybe Junior Stratton, the lieutenant governor. And we will, as you know, Lester, we go down to Springfield with the largest concentration of black business ever to convene on Capitol Hill. We go down there in pretty big numbers. And what we do is that we meet with the Secretary of Transportation, the Capital Development Board, CMS, and all of the agencies to talk about what they're doing in terms of African American spend, not everybody else. We're not talking about minorities. We're talking specifically about African Americans and what our numbers look like.
Okay.
And what, unfortunately, our numbers do not reflect our contribution to the state. And we got to do a better job with that.
What's going to be the date for the April event?
April the 9th.
Okay.
We will be down in Springfield at about 9:30. And then from 9:30, we will have a briefing to get everybody up to date on how we're going to handle the day and logistics. And then after the full day of being in press conferences, meeting with key people, talking to legislators, finding legislation that we're for and legislation that we are against. And once we get that done at 4 o'clock, around 5 o'clock, we're convening at the Wyndham Hotel for food and refreshments.
Okay.
And we have a lot of great people, a lot of great partners who come up, CEOs of major corporations who are there, who come up and say hello and tell us about what's going on. So we really look forward to it. And we also invite the legislators. So we normally see, different legislators from the House and the Senate that come by also to say hello and just network with us at the same time, Lester.
Get it now. People who want to find out more information, I'm assuming they can go on the website for the
Yep.
chamber
Yep.
and give you the logistics of, again, the timing, even if there's buses coming from Chicago, things
There's
of that
buses
nature.
coming from Chicago,
Right.
absolutely. So if you want to get on the bus, it's only $20 to ride the bus down there and back. That's a lot cheaper than getting in your car and paying for gas and coming back and forth. And you get a lot of camaraderie with people who are on the bus. So I think it's a great, if I was in Chicago, I'd be on the bus.
Okay.
I'd really be on the bus, Lester.
So again, you can get this thing set up. You can check the chamber site. It'll give you the data. You can register, pay your small fee, and go in style on a nice ride down to Springfield
Nice
and
ride
come back.
Absolutely. And listen, what I want to talk about real quick is that why it's so important. Why is Lobby Day so important? And I always tell people, from a business aspect, relevancy is important. We always say, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. Mm-hmm. And how do you make sure that you're relevant? Well, when you go down to Springfield, politicians look at two things in order to stay in office: votes and money. When we come down there and we show significant numbers, they understand that we represent a lot of different people and we represent a lot of different business. So that's vote and money at the same time. When they see that, that gives us a platform by which to articulate what we think are inherent challenges and how do we make things better. Compliment what we're doing right, but also take a look at what we're doing wrong and what we need to do to fix it, and then hold each other accountable so we can see progress. What often happens is that you go down, you have a great meeting, all the leadership is there, it's a great show, and 6 months, 8 months, a year later, and nothing really changed. We can't afford to do that any longer. So we go down to Springfield, we're inviting young people to come and be a part of understanding how to engage civically in what's going on in Springfield, because you'll meet legislators, you're going to meet policy issues, and you're going to be in great meetings. And we got to do that because we're in an environment now that we have to begin to shift our thinking and adapt to the changing environment. And what was normally fairly easy, and I'm not saying that Illinois is going to get rid of diversity, equity, inclusion, like some states may. I think we're going to be one of those few states that stay as much as we can. But with that comes the consequences of perhaps policies where federal dollars may not come into the state as much as it used to come in. Okay, mm-hmm. So we have to make sure that we have a different philosophy. And one of the things I tell people that right now, it's about relationships. So whether if you were African American and they had a minority goal, you were able to get the business and do the business because they had to have the goal. When they become race neutral, if that happens at the level it could happen, I'm not saying it's going to happen in the same fashion, but if it does, what you got to know is that people want to do business with people they know. And if you do good business and people like you because you execute flawlessly and you get things done, they're going to hire you no matter what happens. So we tell people now it's time to be as good as you possibly can, and we should always be on that. Excellence needs no excuse, so we need to be engaged in performing. The other thing we need to do from our perspective is that we need to do business with those who do business with us, Lester. Mm. If you're not doing business with us, why should we spend our money with you? Whether you be McDonald's, whether you be Target, if you're Costco and you're embracing diversity, then I think we ought to let our money do our talking.
So you're saying we'd have these tariffs. Hey, you guys don't understand. We're putting a lot of money into your system. Yeah, if you don't understand that, then we're going to take it away.
Yeah, I tell black people are under a trade. Fundamentally, Washington has declared a trade war on black business. Mm-hmm. If we think about it, because it has a negative impact. There's a significant trade deficit in the black community when it comes to black business.
Okay.
And the trade deficit is when more stuff is being exported more stuff is being imported than being exported. And what we're seeing here with the black business community is that we're not really participating at a real level. The adage is that money stays in our community once and it's gone. In other communities, it may circulate 6 or 7 or 8 times. That used not to be the case, Lester.
It's one of those wild things, though. Right now, just so people understand, we're talking about the Illinois Black Chamber of Commerce that you represent.
The Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce.
Again, want to make sure it's clear, the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce.
Absolutely.
The question is, how can people get involved and participate? What do I get out of being a member of the chamber? And how soon can we make it happen?
Well, the first thing, you can easily get involved by going to our website at ilbcc.org, and that's our website. And you can go right into the membership, and you'll see the delineation of membership levels.
Okay.
And you'll figure out where you fit. You can click that button, and you can become a member. Real simple, not very complicated. But the real question is, why should you join the chamber? Why? What does a chamber do that would make you invest your time and your money? Because your money is important to you, and you got to be careful how you spend the capital that you have. And so what I talk about is what is every business needs to talk about their competitive advantage in the marketplace.
Okay.
Okay, so let me tell you our competitive advantage from my perspective. Number one, we sit on very important boards and have relationships at the highest levels, not only in Illinois, but throughout the country, and even on an international basis. So our competitive advantage is that we can do business in the state, domestically throughout the United States, because we have chambers throughout the country, whether that be in New Jersey, New York, Alabama, Tennessee, and we can connect you to our chamber brothers and sisters who are leading business people in that particular state. So we can connect you. So that's important if you're thinking that you want to expand your footprint. But if you want to do business overseas in Mother Africa, which I think we should be doing a lot more business in Africa, we have the connections and we have the relationships at a very high level to get you connected, whether that be in agriculture, IT, any construction, professional services. We're connected and we're doing business and continue to focus on that as a part of our objective. So that's one of the things we do. The other thing we have our own radio show, and we have you, Lester.
Uh-oh.
You know, you're able to bring a lot of people on your show to get exposure that they normally would not get, and you're part of that. What I consider to be that competitive advantage in the marketplace. We also have the Wake Up Show Chicago every Saturday at 9 o'clock that we come on the air to talk about economic issues, showcase businesses. So that's another thing we have. The other thing, like I said, is that we have a political PAC. So we're contributing to politicians so that they understand that we're putting our money where our mouth is. But we want access, because that's really what business wants, access and a level playing field.
That's
so we do that.
Format also, one of the big carriers that you get when you're part of the Black Chamber, Illinois Black State Chamber, you get big connections that we have, like Danny Davis. Gosh, talking about the guy on the Ways and Means Committee, you're talking about the largest financial institution throughout the state's government system.
Absolutely. Congressman Danny Davis is a good friend, and so is Congressman Jonathan Jackson. And so do we have also friends throughout the country. And also we sit on, I'm the chairman of the board of the National Black Chamber of Commerce, which means we have a footprint all across the country. And also I'm a part of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, a part of the CC 100, a unique group of chambers across the country that meet on Capitol Hill to talk about America's global advantage and making sure that America stay competitive in the global markets across the board. So I'm a part of that inner circle team also. So that gives us really a pathway that other organizations simply don't have the bandwidth and the ability to do. We also do a lot of our corporate partners whether it be ComEd, Ameren, People's Gas, AT&T. We got a lot of corporate partners, Wind Creek Casino, Bally's Casino. Those are our corporate partners, and we're doing business. We have the ability to go and be an advocate on behalf of black businesses to make sure they get an ample opportunity. We're doing business with the Illinois Lottery. A lot of, most of all the black media firms, whether that be Chicago Crusader, Carl West, TMBZ News, and a host of others, are all partners of our chamber that we help to make sure that we drive business to them. So I'm really proud, Lester, of the work that we do, how we do it, and the consistency of what we do as an organization.
And right now we have a wind that's going here. There are so many different relationships that we have within the chamber, where right now, so many different items, so many connections. It seems like it's the perfect model. If you're looking for something to generate business and make your company work well, then you have to be part of this.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're looking at from a, business about finding assets and liabilities. If you got more liabilities, you got assets, you're in trouble, right? You want to have more assets than you have liabilities. The chamber is an asset to every business because the chamber is an advocate that you don't have to pay an enormous amount of money for them to go out and be an advocate for you. So when we walk into those meetings with the Secretary of Transportation, with the Capital Development Board, with CMS, with DoIT that handles all the IT for the state, we're advocating for you to get a piece of the pie that you deserve. And we have to understand, and this is a number list that I think is important for people to get. In this environment, I need the listening audience to understand this. When you take a look at federal contracting based upon the Office of Budget and Management at the federal government level, African Americans get 1.35% of all of the federal contracts. That's it. Hispanics get 1.75%. Caucasian white men get about 93% of all the federal contracts. So I say, do they do 93% of all the work? Do they pay 93% of all the taxes? And they represent, and their population is about 35% of the population. It's out of balance. Now, I don't fault them for, wanting to get as much as they can get. We just have a different uniform on, and we're trying to get our fair share in terms of our contribution to this great country, the greatest economy in the world. But I dare say it would not have happened without the contribution of African Americans who came here as slaves and contributed to help this economy to grow. And we have a right to participate in it. So that's what we do as a black chamber, fight for economic participation, and we don't apologize for that, Lester.
Got it. What's the model right now for the chamber? Where does the chamber want to grow? Do you want to continue to expand the number of participants? And right now, are we talking just African Americans, or are we talking Hispanics or Asians?
No.
Are we saying the door is open to anybody who wants to come be part of the chamber?
Well, we're always open for anyone who want to be part of the chamber. Our focus is African Americans.
Okay.
Because I go back to Executive Order 246, 246 under Lyndon Johnson. That was designed for African Americans. That was the height of the civil rights movement. Now Trump, by executive order, got rid of that and made it, got rid of what we call Executive Order 246. And, but the reason that was there is that Lyndon Johnson understood that the country was in a struggle with African Americans who were trying to make sure that they participated. In the infinite wisdom of Lyndon Johnson, under the civil rights movement, he signed an executive order to make sure there was equal access and opportunity on the hiring side and also on the contracting side. That was the purpose of it. Now, if we had arrived at a point where there was real parity, then I'd understand perhaps the movement to get away from it and make merit. And I'm not against merit. I'm against that merit is subjective, and everybody won't use merit as a basis of selecting. And so we do need certain things in place to ensure that when people don't want to do the right thing, there is laws in place or things in place to ensure that we're not left out, like we were in slavery, quite frankly.
Right. You're talking about African Americans who helped to build the United States of America. Right now, through our backs and our labor, this country became the largest, strongest, financially most able in the world. So right
Absolutely.
now, it's based on the labor of African Americans.
A $25 trillion economy, about approximately.
Yeah, and right
And
now
in
we're saying, how does this continue to grow? I think African Americans have to understand that, hey, you helped build it, you made it happen, so right now you have to participate and make it grow.
Absolutely. And Lester, here's my point: is that what's if we talk about America is a corporation, when you have an employee, if you have 1,000 employees, as an example, do you want 50% of your employees to be productive, or you want 100% of your employees to be productive? Because
100%.
100%, because if 100%, your profit margins are greater, you're more competitive, and everything else.
Right.
We cannot afford to have, continue to be the great economy we have without economic participation across the board. And I think it's just good business. And I think we do ourselves a disservice when we're not creating entrepreneurship spirit, whether it be black or white, whether it be Hispanic or Asian. We need to make sure that the entrepreneurship spirit is alive and well and thriving, and that everybody gets an opportunity to participate in the great economy, and that when there's fairness and equity, and I know when we say fairness in business, that can be, what's fairness, Larry? I don't care about fairness, I just want to win. But sometime in you winning, a lot of other people lose. And you can win. What we try to get to is a win-win-win situation, Lester, where we win, community wins, and America wins all at the same time.
Got it. It's a format right now where I'm trying to understand the model we really want to make. We want everybody to succeed. Right now, for our listeners, if you have a business, right now, are you a minority firm, you want to get involved and grow, there's an opportunity for that to happen. We're not saying you have to be involved, we're just saying we open the door. And
Absolutely.
we only make it happen. You decide when you want to make it work.
Absolutely, Lester. Hey, your point well taken.
Okay.
And that's why we're here as an organization, because we love helping businesses to get to the next level. We love opening a door where a door has been closed. We love when you should have won, but they lock you out, but we can come in and help fix the problem so you get the contract you deserve. Not a contract they gave to you, but a contract you bid it on and that you put your best foot forward and you deserve to win. But for some technicality, they decided not to give you the contract. And if you don't have an organization like the Chamber, and if you don't invest in the Chamber and make sure it's strong and healthy, then you do yourself a disservice. Because that's why our counterparts have the road builders and all these other organizations, because they are advocate for them on Capitol Hill getting money and resources. We got to have those organizations always represent our interests. So we need to have our own organization that represent our interests, specifically targeted towards us. No different than banking institutions have their own lobbyists. They're not the same lobbyists as the manufacturers have, because they got different issues,
Right.
different objectives. So we got to make sure that our voices and our needs are specific to us. It's good business. When we had clients, all our clients, Lester, didn't have the same investment philosophy. They didn't have the same investment strategy. They didn't have the same portfolio mix. Each of them had different needs based upon where they're at, their age, their tolerance for
Yeah,
risk.
we all have unique situations.
Right. And if you were a good financial advisor, you listened carefully and you met the need.
Got it. Model for the Chamber going forward. Right, a number of different things right now. You got the relationship with Africa, we got things with South America, we got things with Jamaica, we got things with different parts of the planet. Right now, there are opportunities that are out there right now. So how do people get involved to understand all the stuff that we're trying to do?
Well, I think that one, they should come to Lobby Day. We want to have the largest concentration of black business ever to convene on Capitol Hill, because that sends a very powerful message. And I know people are working and say, well, I got to take a whole day off to go down to Springfield. Just think about what that means. If we show up in real numbers and we really have a clear objective, it sends a shockwave throughout the whole state of Illinois that we vote and we got money. Now that's power. But if we only show up and we don't only show up in real numbers, we don't take the time to do a little bit of sacrificing, then we won't get the results. It's like, I want to have muscles, but I want to go to the gym and lift any weights. I don't do no exercise. I just want to sit back and eat cookies and drink and eat ice cream.
Okay.
And then you think you want to have you want to be looking like Mr. Hulk. It's not going to happen. You got to do something different. And so when we go down to Springfield, it is intentional for black businesses to understand this is about you. It ain't about your chamber. This is about you because we represent you in those meetings. We don't represent ourselves. We represent you and your business. So when you come down to the Springfield, that one day out of a year, that you go down there in Springfield and say, look, I'm going with the chamber because they're our advocates. And when I'm sitting there running my business, they're fighting for policies. They're fighting for me. They're opening doors. They're engaging in healthy conversation and challenging the status quo on my behalf. And guess what? I'm not paying them a lobbyist fee and paying them $50,000 a year or anything like that. I'm paying them a nominal fee to be a voice for me and making sure that my business survives.
Right.
Man, I don't know how you can beat that.
It's just a minimal expense to take maximum benefit from what's going on.
Absolutely. So we tell people who are listening, call us, go to ilbcc.org or call us on our phone, 309-303. No, it's 30, I give you my cell phone number, 309-740-4430. Call us, go to our website, and call us and let us help you and get you involved in Lobby Day on April the 9th, a day to remember.
Okay.
I would like to say a day that will live on in infamy, but that may be overstating. But it is important. It's critical.
A day in infamy. You have to get there.
Right.
Now,
Absolutely.
question: what's the status with female business owners with the chamber? I know we've tried to build a number of female business owners.
We have females throughout our organization. They're one of the fastest growing groups in business. And I think women are doing it. And we continue to encourage. We have one I'm proud of, a new member, Michelle Syrup. She's been in business 41 years, Lester.
What type of business?
She's a syrup.
Okay.
She has syrup that's as good and better than Aunt Jemima and Buttersworth.
Oh.
And she's African American.
Ah.
And believe me, I tried the syrup. It is absolutely amazing. And we've had a positive impact because we've moved a lot of syrup off the shelves in Chicago and throughout the state of Illinois, and going to be moving throughout the country. So she's a great, because Lester, here's what I think we got to do in this environment. We got to adjust and we got to pivot. One, what we're going to have to do is be more intentional about doing business with each other, because the market is contracting at some level in terms of federal contracting. Now, I got a problem with that, and we got to fight against that to try to get as much back as we possibly can. But say we don't get back as much as we can, we got to create other avenues. And I think what we need to do, like we used to do many years ago, Lester, we got to invest in each other. We got to stop being so critical and start investing in each other. And when we have a syrup that you can buy Aunt Jemima, Buttersworth, or you can buy Michelle Syrup, why not buy the sister syrup? It's just as good. It's better. It's actually better and better for you, and it's good. So, and she's at Kroger's, at Jewel's, and all these other stores. So let's go viral. Let's go buy our syrup. But let's do that with Reggio Pizza. Let's do that with all these companies, and let's invest our money where people respect us, where we employ our own people. I'm for that. I mean, I'm not against it. I'm for it. I think we got to do that.
Hey, it's an option that can help benefit the masses, at least with African Americans, at least.
Right. My other thing, lest I say this, is that when we get in a position of power, if you're on the school board, if you're on the housing authority board, if you're in leadership like the Speaker of the House, if you're the Speaker of the House and black business is no better off than somebody else that was there, then people ought to challenge you, and you ought not to be in the position. Now, I'm not saying that Speaker of the House is doing a good or bad job. I'm not here to talk about, I'm talking about accountability. That Black Caucus and leadership has to be accountable of making sure that things are better. Because when we get in the position of power, is that things are supposed to be better for the people that we represent. And if black people vote us in, then we need to make sure that black people are participating in those economic dollars that they pay for. Now, it'd be one thing if there was a moratorium on black people paying taxes. There isn't. We pay taxes like everybody else. There's no discrimination when it comes to collecting taxes. There ought to be no discrimination when it comes to contracts. We ought to demand that right. And we got to do a better job. And legislators have to do a better job, in my opinion, and they don't get a pass. They got to do a better job of advocating and talking to the chambers and business people. The caucus cannot represent black business themselves. No different than the U.S. Chamber of Commerce represents business throughout the United States. The Illinois State Chamber of Commerce represents a lot of white businesses in the state of Illinois. When issues of business come up, business organizations ought to be the voice that they're talking to. It ought not to be legislators talking on behalf of black business. It ought to be us talking to legislators about what we want and what we want them to do.
Got it. So I know the last time we were down in Springfield, we had a meeting with a few different groups, and the issues came up for the state of Illinois and the amount of contracts that it gave to minorities or African Americans. Our percentage has basically been there, but we need to have it go higher.
Yeah, well, the numbers are pretty. If we really get right down to it, Lester, the fact of the matter is that if you take a look at the demographics in Chicago, if you take a different demographics in Peoria or any city in the state of Illinois, that you're going to find there's a significant black population, but in comparison to contracts and participation, the numbers are pretty small. We can do a better job. We ought to do a better job because we don't have a social economic problem. We have an economic social problem. We fix the economics, we'll fix the social. And I always tell people, I was talking to a group of young brothers and sisters that were pretty impressive at the summit that Terry Simmons was giving. And I was talking to young people. I said, look, if you had Bill Gates' money, how many problems could you fix?
A few.
Absolutely. So if we create wealth, we can help a lot of people. And there's nothing that makes you feel better, Lester, in my opinion, because life is about living and being happy. It's not about being sad, it's about being happy. Well, it's joy when you can give someone money, if you can help pay for a kid's college education, when you can help someone get into a home, when you can support organizations that are doing the right thing, and you got the money to do that, that is a beautiful thing, man. It makes you feel good about yourself. And so if we got money, we can do a lot of good things. And that's why we ought to get the money so we can do a lot of good things so we can be happy. And I think it's just about impossible, in my opinion, to have all the money and not do things to help people. I mean, what's the money for if you're not going to do something that's going to matter?
Right. And it's just a matter of the education and knowledge to say, hey, what can I do right now to make things better? What's the biggest need right now? I got issues. I'm sitting on several boards dealing right now with our penal system here in the state of Illinois. We have some issues. A lot of them are in jail, a lot of them because of mental issues.
Right.
A lot of people get into prison because, hey, it's a mental thing that's there and they have problems.
There's a lot of stress being black in America.
Yeah, it is very stressful.
I'll give you a quick example. I got a young son. He's 6'8", he's a basketball player, and he's 23 years old. Every time I go home, and he's not home at a certain time, and he's 23 years old now, he's on his own, I worry. If I see a police car and they got a young man, I'm concerned. Because I got to live through that stress because I know a young black man in America, at any point in time, life can be taken away from him by someone who's black, by the police officer. And so white people don't have the same degree of stress that we have. You know, if you got a young, beautiful daughter like you have, there's always a degree of more stress that we have. So we just gotta, you know, I just believe that we're here for a reason. I like winning. I do not apologize for being an advocate on behalf of black business, because that's who I am, that's what I represent. No different than in Congress. You represent your constituency, and that's who you're supposed to represent. I represent black business. When I get on the board, if I'm not advocating for black business, I don't understand what I'm on the board for. If you pick me to be on the board, then you ought to know who I am. You ought to know that I'm going to advocate for black business.
Yes.
So don't be surprised when I say, wait a minute, how are we doing? That's not good enough. You can do better. What's the problem? How do we fix it? I want to know what we're going to do because I can't afford to be on the board, Lester, and things stay the same. Yeah. That's an insult.
And I make the assumption that you only picked me for the board because you know my history. You know my actions. So right now,
I ain't
you
hiding.
already anticipated me that I'm going to do certain things and focus in this area.
Absolutely, absolutely. When I tell people that they put me on that board, my resume is pretty clear all my life, for most of my life. And so for me to not advocate and challenge status quo would be like, it would be offensive. It's like, well, Larry, what did we pick Larry for? I thought he was going to make some things
I thought
happen.
we was make a difference here.
Hey, man, that's my job, to make a difference. I'm on the school board in Peoria. I'd be disappointed if people are no better off and I sit on the school board or I sit on the housing authority board. If I sit on any of the boards, now sometimes because you're such an effective advocate, they move you off the boards. Okay. I've been moved off a couple of boards because in some cases people say, he's pushing too hard. Just like some people thought Dr. King was pushing too hard for economic inclusion and accommodation rights. Some people thought he wanted too much too fast. And so he was in some cases considered a troublemaker, even by his own people, that they were uncomfortable. But I think if you're going to grow, you can't grow being at status quo. Growth happens when you break through the ground. If a plant breaks through the ground and he has to struggle from the earth and get into the air, that's a struggle. He has to break through.
Right.
We have to challenge and understand that's about growth, man. I mean,
It's just the way it happens if you want to grow.
absolutely. No growth happens if you stay the same, brother.
Right now, we got a fence though. Right now, we have a president. Right now, and African American firms are at a big wall right now because the amount of activity and access here in the country is being limited.
Well,
What are we going to do to make this stop?
Well, here's what I say. It don't matter what they do. Only thing matters what we do. It really doesn't. They're going to do what they do. The question is, what are you going to do? What are you going to do to strengthen your own hand? That's the question. Because, I remember playing spades with my brother and sister, and I would always try to intimidate my sister who was playing. I was playing after her, and I'd get the big joke, and I'd flash it in front of her and say, hey, I tried to intimidate her. And her husband said the most profound word. He said, because I was getting into her head and forcing her to do things she didn't really want to do because I was threatening her in essence. And he said, it doesn't really matter what Larry does. Only thing that matters is what you do. I said, that was profound. And I think that's what we have to say. It doesn't matter what Trump does. Hell, he can do what he wants. But the question is, Lester, what are we going to do? Am I going to do more business with you? Am I going to create more opportunities? I'm going to get on boards and make a difference? That's what matters to me.
Because right now we're talking about Trump, who's right now the president here of the United States of America.
Yes, he is.
The largest employer in this country. We have the hundreds of thousands of people that come through and contracts of billions and trillions of dollars that come through. And right now we got a big wall here that's saying, hey, you guys no longer have access.
Well, I mean, that's their agenda. I mean, that's what they're doing. They believe that what they're doing is in the best interest, from their opinion, for America.
Make America great again.
Yeah, now, I don't happen to agree with that, but it is their agenda, and they have an agenda. The question is that what is our agenda, Lester? What are we doing? What's our plan? What's our strategy? Where is leadership focused on where we're headed to? We made strides, but if we took a look at diversity, equity, inclusion, in the civil rights movement, it was, we agree that when Lyndon Johnson did that, he didn't do that for Hispanics and everybody. That was done for African Americans, right? We agree upon that, right?
Okay.
But we are the least benefactor of the very law in which was written and the executive order that was in for us. We're at the lowest of the totem pole. White women, Hispanics, Asians, we're at the bottom of the totem pole. So it has not served us nearly as well as it should. Now, I'm not giving it up, but the fact of the matter is it has not served us very well. And we need to continue to push for building capacity, growing our business where we don't have to become subcontractors, we become prime contractors. We're competing at the prime level. And there's no exclusion when it comes to, based upon my fact of bid, compete, and win, I win. And I can hire whatever subcontractors I want. I'm about self-sufficiency. I'm about not belly aching about what they're doing to us. I believe that we have the power. We have, over close to $2 trillion of buying power, man. $2 trillion. What are we doing with the $2 trillion? It's larger than, probably
Number
the
of
12th
countries.
largest, probably 12th largest country in the world, bigger than Australia. So why are we complaining? We need to stop. We need to fight, but we need to take a look at what we got and how they use those assets. When we were in the investment banking business, Lester, you're still in it, I'm out of it now. But we should shift assets in order to reduce the risk and increase the performance. Because that was the asset allocation that we were using to improve the upside potential and create diversity. We need to be thinking those same terms. We need to be thinking about diversity, our asset allocation. We invest only in America, only in the state of Illinois. We need to invest in Illinois, other states, and we need to invest globally. That's diversification. We need to have income coming from all streams at the same time. Then we ought to take a degree of risk, whether it be in gold mining in Africa, whether it be in lithium and precious metals, like in agriculture, IT. We got to do the same thing we taught our clients to do, what we did for our clients, Lester.
Right.
A diversified portfolio with strong upside potential, and there was some market volatility.
Right now, I'm a African American with a business here in America, based here in Illinois. The question is right now, to be involved with organizations like the Chamber opens the door to all the 50 states. So if I want to diversify what I do, get connected with people who can help and assist, have mentors that can also assist me like Larry Ivory and a few other people that are part of this,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
get on the boat.
Absolutely. Hey man, I'm proud of so many talented people we have, like yourself, Robert Johnson, who was he was the Sylvia Polk of McDonald's. And I'm proud that he's a part of the team. Dr. Jeffrey Sterling, one of the great international players in healthcare. We got so many talented people, LaDonna Ray, just a lot of people who are making great things happen at different levels of their own development. Man, I'm excited. In spite of what's happening in the country, I'm excited because when chaos comes, opportunity creates itself. You just got to look for the opportunity with a different mindset. And I'm prepared for combat. Matter of fact, I enjoy combat. I like a good fight.
It's every day.
Yeah, I enjoy a good fight. The more weather the opponent is, the more excited I get, man.
Okay.
So I'm in this game, man. Until they get me out of here, I'm in this game. Now, I serve notice to all those who would think, because they didn't try everything they can to get me out of there. I didn't had coups, you name it. They didn't try everything. And I guess they must have finally got tired and said, look, we did everything this guy we can do. He ain't quit, he ain't stopping. We're gonna stop the next one. We're gonna let him go on by. So I'm not having nearly the problems I used to have. But it's been a process, man. And I expect it to continue to be a little bit of a process.
Got it. So what does Larry Ivory advise for your average African American business owner today? What is it that we need to do?
Well, first thing we need to invest in ourselves, Lester. We need to be competitive and be the best at what we do. That's the first thing. We got to be the best. Our goal is to be the best chamber. There's over 120,000 black businesses. I'd like to get to where we got 12,000 of them. If we got 10% of the marketplace, then that would make us the most dominant organization in the state of Illinois. I like to think we ought to create a legal defense fund so we can sue at will. I think we ought to do a number of other things. We have a political PAC. We ought to make sure that we invest in people who invest in us. And I think we ought to make examples of people when we invest in them and they don't follow the policies that we do. I'm a part of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. They invest a lot of money into people on Capitol Hill in terms of free trade and Congress people. They give a lot of money, but they give that money to people who carry their policy. And if you don't carry our policy, then we have to work to get you out of there. This is basic, man. Now, that makes some people uncomfortable. It's okay. They'll get over it. My goal is that at some point in time, my time will be over, Lester. And when I stand before Almighty God, and he looks at me and says, did you do your best, Larry? Now, did you get afraid? Did when the enemies attacked, did you run away and cry? Or did you stand up and fight? Did you understand who you were? Well, I want to be able to say to Almighty, man, I was in the fight, God. I want him to look at me and say, yeah, brother, you were fighting, brother. You were scared. You wouldn't like a lot of other scared people. You were in the game fighting. We all got the ability to be our greatest selves. I want to be my greatest self, Lester.
Got it.
I'm flawed, and I know I'm flawed. And I'm under no illusion that every decision I make isn't always the right decision, but I do try to make the best decision based on the information I have.
We're not all perfect.
No.
The format is we're
None of
in
us
an
are perfect.
imperfect world.
Right, imperfect world, and hey, just let me in, coach. Let me play. Let me take the shot. I'll take the shot, and I'll live with the consequence if I miss.
Got it.
But let me in the game. Just put me in the game.
Yeah. Now, notable, you guys have in the chamber some pretty prominent African American firms that are part of the chamber.
Absolutely.
And notably, what's the biggest and best right now?
Well, we got so many, Lester, that we can speak of. You know, infrastructure engineering.
Which is
It's
actually
growing
up
like-
for another big contract that I talked to people about.
Yeah, he's doing the red line. He's a
Yeah.
part of the red line. You got Ardmore Roderick, another incredible engineering firm that's exceptional. We have staffing companies like Onshore, Valerie Davis, Onshore Technology.
Right.
You got Joyce Johnson. I mean, we got so many incredible people, man. You know, Dr. Sterling, Robert Johnson, you know, just all kinds of people, man. It's so many great, talented people we have. You know, Ron Givens, who just was on the phone. Yeah, Ron, his company is being turned over to his son as he begins to slow down and take it easy. But Ron has built an incredible company, and the tenacity and the commitment and his savviness in terms of business is exceptional. You know, he can run a master's course on how to be successful in business, and we got to take this talent, and we got to be young people. You know, when we were growing up, when our elders came, we sat down and listened, and we didn't talk over them. We listened. Nowadays, young people, some cases, they think they know as much as we know, and you can't know as much as I know if you've only been around for 20 years. You know, you ain't even had your heart broken yet. So you can't even talk about a heartache yet.
Right.
But everybody thinks because they know something about technology, they know something about business. That is not business. That is not the ability to build a relationship, connect with people, and people do business with people they know and like.
Yeah, because for me, I have the issue where I see a lot of good business owners, and I try to bring them around. I still teach at Lake Forest's Graduate School of Business, and I actually have Ron down as a candidate to tell his story at one of the business school classes, just to say, hey, this is the way it works, and this is the reality of what happens. I think also with the chamber that we have the skill to put out there and educate a lot of people trying to build their businesses.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. We're such a gifted race of people, man. You know, we're such a talented group of people. Even with entertainment field, mostly everything is driven by us.
Yeah,
You know, fundamentally, I mean, like I said, we are the original.
it's the way
Everything
it
else is a copy.
Now, we had an interesting little interlude with one of the new casinos here in the Chicago area, Wynn, and they're looking for more people to do business with. They're looking for opportunities. So what do you think?
Employment?
I think Wynn's a good operation.
Wind Creek is a phenomenal company. They employ 67% of their people are African American. No other casino can say that. From top to bottom, they have diversity. They are committed to diversity and inclusion. The environment is great. The food is incredible, man. I mean, I was over there having food, and I'm like, man, this food is, you know, you go to casinos and the food is okay, you know, but you're going for gaming. But with Wind Creek, man, the food is
Pretty good.
But we're holding our conference there. That's what we're proud of. Our 20th anniversary for our conference will be held at Wind Creek on August the 5th, 6th, and 7th. So we'll be at Wind Creek. We'll have our friends from Africa coming over, the CEOs of Africa flying over to be a part. They called me and confirmed that they want to know the date locked in, so they're going to be in. You know, and we're just excited, man. I'm just excited to be in the game and excited to be black and be in America. I don't consider that to be a disadvantage. I think that this is our time.
Now, question. We have African Americans definitely doing a lot of business. we have Hispanics so kicking down the doors.
Absolutely.
And there's a huge world out there, so everybody's saying, I want to share.
Absolutely. Well, Hispanics, I got to tell you, if you take a look at the numbers, they got it better than we got it in terms of numbers and the growth of their business. Their legislators make sure they're in the budget. The chamber hasn't been in the budget since I don't know when, but the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce in the budget every year, $2.5 million. And I say to my legislative friends, stop hating. Quite frankly, it should be your mandate because African American businesses are only doing 70% of our business is doing $50,000 a year.
Okay.
That's what they're doing. While Hispanic businesses are doing somewhere close to 200,000. And if you take the whole number of 85,000 approximate business, we got 120,000. Their revenues are 4 times our revenues, Lester. Mm. And we need to make sure that whether you invest in the chamber, you got to invest in an organization that understands business, who are advocates for business. You got to fight for that, because you fight for that, you're fighting for your own sense of purpose, in my opinion. And quite frankly, they can do a better job.
Got it.
Not saying all of them are bad, and like I said, all Democrats ain't good, and all Republicans ain't bad.
Yeah, not bad.
In this environment, I'm beginning to wonder if any of them are good sometime in some cases. But we got some good leadership in some cases. But I challenge them. If you see this video, see this TV show, you got to ask yourself, as a legislator, are you really making a difference? And in the capitalist society, are you strengthening black businesses so they can create wealth, so they can support good people like yourself? Because when white people make more money, they invest in white people. Mm. When black people have more money, they invest in things that pertain to black people. That's what they ought to do.
That's the way it works.
And our people have to get that. And I say to the speaker, and quite frankly, I'm at a point in life where I ain't really afraid of nobody.
Look, I'm not.
I'm really not, quite frankly. I don't have to bite my tongue. I can say what I want to say. I represent what I represent. I have a lot of friends all across the globe. And I can be honest with you. I want the best for all of us.
Got it.
For the black community, which I think has been undervalued, quite frankly, and underappreciated.
Yeah. We've gone through a lot of times through our biggest issues right now. We got Lobby Day that's coming up.
Absolutely,
People need to get online and can definitely take a look at
Get on the bus, man. Get on the bus and come on down to Springfield, man.
$20, get your round trip, come back, have a good day, meet a lot of people, get some contracts, meet with hopefully the governor even, and get a chance to talk about your company.
Yep. Hey, and you got some young people, put the young people on the bus. Sponsor the $20 for them to go on the bus and to participate in Lobby Day, man. This is a beautiful experience that they will remember. We owe it to them to get them involved in business of politics and the politics of business.
Got it. Last thing also, the chamber is looking for some young youth that are college students, are looking to have some interns. And if you guys want to get involved, definitely come, get the information and call us if you want to be a participant. And hey, let's get this set up also.
Absolutely. Listen, let me just thank you, man, for being a stellar person in terms of what you do and bringing us on the air. Again, I appreciate you, brother.
Hey, do I have a choice?
You got a choice.
Oh, gosh. Hey, we got a lot of stuff that we're trying to do. And I don't know, I'm getting older here. Trying to get more.